Welcome back to NBA Today. We are joined now by NBA Commissioner Adam Silver. Adam, thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us today.
Of course.
The games, they've been so much fun. They've been so great. They've been so fun to watch. We have a myriad of topics to get to today, so let's start here with ESPN's Baxter Holmes reporting that in a recent meeting with Phoenix Suns employees, you addressed possible solutions for tanking, reportedly saying we put teams on notice, and particularly this season ahead of Victor Wembanyama entering the draft. So what are the specific measures, the notices you're considering to prevent teams from tanking this season?
Well, let me just say, of course, that's not the reason I was in Phoenix talking to their staff. But, you know, after we talked about the situation there, I think I got some general questions about what was happening in the league. And so this whole notion of tanking came up. Nothing new in the league. And in fact, you know, as you know, Malika, shortly before the pandemic, you know, roughly 2019, we had changed the lottery odds yet once again. Not that I can say that we knew that Victor Wembanyama was coming precisely at this time, but we lowered the odds really essentially for the worst three teams in the league, and then for the fourth team only has a slightly better odds. So it's roughly around a 14% chance. So said differently, if you have the worst record or one of the worst records in the league, you have an 86% chance of not getting the top pick. So I think that's first and foremost one of the most important measures we've taken. And then on the flip side, we added the play-in tournament. And the idea of the play-in tournament is that if you're a team that starts slow or has an injury beginning early on in the season, that it's not worth throwing in the towel on the season because you can come back and actually make the playoffs. So those are the things we've done. I mentioned, and Baxter Holmes reported it, some other areas that we've looked at over the years. I can't say I was deadly serious about talking about relegation because we don't have the same system as European soccer, and it would make no sense to send an NBA team to the G League or the G League team up to the NBA. But obviously that's how other leagues deal with situations like this, where they force teams to stay competitive because the consequences of finishing at the bottom of the league are dramatically detrimental to the health of the team. But it's something, as I was saying to the folks there in Phoenix, that we keep our eye on. I mean, obviously we understand we're selling competition to our fans, and it doesn't mean that rebuilding isn't appropriate for certain teams. But incidentally, I view tanking, I know the way in which you're saying it, but certainly if we thought that players on the floor, there was anything happening in an organization that meant that a team was intentionally losing games, I view that very differently than an organization that is truly rebuilding, recognizing that they're going to need to restock with great talent in order to improve.
But with a once-in-a-generation player like Victor being slated to come into the league, have you reminded teams, had heightened conversations yet?
In a general way, we have. I mean, I think everyone understands that. As I said, I think most importantly, you're dealing with a 14% chance of getting the first pick, so teams understand that. I agree. I was listening to part of the show from Ramona and Kendrick before I came on, talking about the basketball gods. I'm in that camp too. I recognize at the end of the day, analytics are what they are, and it's not about superstition. 14% chance arguably is better than 1% chance or no percent chance. But as I said, it doesn't, even in terms of the straightforward odds, it doesn't benefit a team to be the absolute worst in the league. And even if you're one of the poor performing teams, you're still dealing with a 14% chance. But I think it's one of these things, there's no perfect solution, but we still think a draft is the right way to rebuild your league over time. We still think it makes sense among partner teams, or actually a decision is made that the worst performing teams are in a position to restock with what the prospects of the best players coming in. So we have